think all the busted knuckles builds will stand out from each other, as every group with every competing dealership has its own unique set of people that bring different ideas to the table and different talents. I think for us, what will set us apart is probably the design direction, which I feel that is something that will be quite unique and something that I haven't really seen before. There's not a lot of times where the motorcycle world and the car world kind of intersect. There's some collaborations that you see here and there. A lot of the time it's liveries or very sort of like one-off limited production pieces. But when it comes to the sort of custom world, I think a lot of motorcycle designers really leverage off the heritage of other sort of motorcycle design ideas and sort of the classic shapes of the past and things like that. But to do something that crosses over from cars, I think will be very cool. My name is David Song from Moto Machine. Our store serves the Royal Enfield community here in Sydney. The exploration has been the most fun. There's been long nights designing mock-ups, exploring different ideas, aesthetics, because we're looking at mechanical, electrical, ergonomic, paint livery, all those different factors of this build have to really come together. There's no constraints in this busted knuckles, and pretty much we can just let our creative juices run free and create whatever we want to create, as long as it captures the essence of Royal Enfield. The design and planning aspect is definitely the most challenging, as we need to make sure that our renders and all of our designs can be translated from the screen and the pencil and the paper all the way to reality, and that there's a viable pathway and that we can meet all the time constraints of this build so that what we set out to build reflects in the actual final build itself. Well, being our first build, something that's ground up like this is not normally what we do as a dealership. So it's going to be a lot of learning for us, obviously from the start of the modelling to basically strip the bike, put all the foam panels, and then use a cutter to sculpt our shapes, to learn to mould things properly, to develop parts. Obviously, there'll be some 3D printing involved. There'll be a lot of sort of different skill sets that we need to develop as a dealership in order to make this a successful project. But we have a lot of different skill sets in this building, and I think if we put our minds together, anything is really possible. For us as motorcyclists, motorcycle has to work, has to ride properly. So when it comes to the geometry and things like that, we wanted to retain something that is completely rideable, whereas with the aesthetics, we wanted to really change that into something super unique, super custom, and something that people can look at and it makes sense, because a lot of the time, aesthetic beauty is because everything is cohesive and everything comes together. All the small parts form the whole. So the Group E rally cars of the 80s have the iconic boxy look. There's knacker ducts, there's vents, swept up spoiler from the boot, and there's a lot of very simple and striking liveries that we can lean into with the Group B. And the Group B was raw. Royal Enfield is all about ride pure. I think those concepts really gel together well. And there's so many things that we can put together in this package that design-wise haven't really seen something exactly of this nature. For the design element, it was all like, we basically had one chef in this cook, like in this sort of like dish, I suppose, so that we didn't have too many conflicting ideas and we could work with more cohesion about where we wanted to sort of land with this. But luckily the whole team agreed on the vision and they were passionate about what we were trying to create, and they all get it because we all come from pretty similar backgrounds as to all of our mechanical careers to date. We're all car guys, we're bike guys. Anything with wheels really floats our boat. So at the end of the day, when they saw the vision, everyone understood it and everyone's on board. Before sort of locking in with this Group B sort of design direction, there was a lot of things. Basically, to draw anything on paper is limitless. So we went down lots of different rabbit holes when it came to different themes, different liveries, different concepts, and to explore all of those and then to look at what we can do aesthetically, mechanically, electrically, ergonomically, and also with the paint livery. That was a really satisfying process because we don't normally get to do those sort of things and then translate it immediately into a build. Everyone sort of chips in with their design ideas and things like that. We do consult each other to see the feasibility of the different parts of the project, like in terms of things like lighting, little electronic sort of things that we want to put on the bike to give it a bit more uniqueness. One of the team could be really good with electrical, and we just need to find out and discuss whether it can be achieved within a certain time, within a reasonable budget as well. I think first and foremost, the most important thing is that the whole team enjoys the build, because that's what motorcycling, project bikes, customization, that's what it's all about. It's also a good opportunity to hone a different set of skills to what we normally do. And every day we're learning something new, and as mechanics, technicians, coming from that background, I think it's a really great opportunity for us to expand our horizons. Honestly, to describe it in 3 words, it would probably be not yet ready. Basically, with these projects, like nothing ever goes to plan. For us, I think one of our strengths is that we're quite creative people, and we had a lot of different ideas, sketching. With those sort of things, the sky's the limit. You can sketch anything. It doesn't have to make any ergonomic sense. You're not limited to the production process of how you're going to achieve that result. So I think from our initial concept to today, a lot of the things were determined by what we couldn't do, what our limitations were. Throughout the whole project, we were a little lost in some ways because we had to get to the next step and then look at that step and then figure out the step after that. Because so one of the things was like we only have access to a bench grinder and a wire wheel at the shop. We've got another handheld grinder. We don't have a lot of fabrication tools here. We have access to a TIG welder. So when we saw what we had to work with, we decided that it was more feasible to work exclusively with flat surfaces. And so that determined our design direction. So on the tank, you'll see everything is flat. That's pretty much a limitation of like what sort of equipment that we had and what we had to work with. And we thought, yeah, we'll lean into this and really give it a boxy kind of powerful design. And so that led to, all right, so if everything is all angular and square, what sort of bike is this going to be? And we thought, you know what, like, let's give it nitrous oxide because that suits it, And then we thought, yeah, we'll paint it tan. So we developed the livery that sort of looks like that desert sled. We added the blocky tires. So kind of like the previous step determined the next step, like every step of the way. And it was something that we didn't really have a clear vision from the beginning to where we'll end up at. We thought we did in the early stages of Busted Knuckles, but in reality, that didn't happen. We were just going with the flow. Our first concept was we were leaning into that sort of like Group B rally car design and merging that with motorcycles. And of course, one of the fundamental design aspects of a Group B rally car is the wide body. And we tried and tried and tried. And we 3D printed, we did mock-ups. We could make something that looked super duper cool. However, like you couldn't ride it because just ergonomically, your arms would be out here, nothing would be comfortable. And we sort of realized why any sort of like wide bike always falls into a certain sort of design, because you can't really avoid factoring the rider and the riding position of the bike. So we had to sort of ditch that kind of design direction, but we still wanted to retain something that was quite angular and quite bold in terms of design. And yeah, this is where it ended up. There's no real point to play it safe. There's so many great custom builders out there that we will never be able to compete with them, because like that's not our area of expertise. For us, it wasn't so much like challenging ourselves to do the perfect weld or something like that. It was more about creativity. Like, let's build something that is kind of unique, that even the guys that are much better builders than us can sort of look at and go, wow, like that's interesting. Or you've done it in a certain way that you know, someone hasn't seen before. I think the creativity part was really the key to our project. By looking at the bike, you discover everything that we've done. The guys in the team, everyone has some sort of talent. None of us have all the talents to be a custom builder, but I think essentially we sort of tapped into everyone's sort of best talents, and it was, you know, a really collaborative effort for everyone at our dealership that built this bike together. We took it seriously in the way that, of course, it's a competition, but at the same time, we didn't really take ourselves so seriously. We just wanted to have fun and kind of like almost come up with something that is just a little crazy. We just wanted to use our creativity, and there's not a lot of opportunities that you get where you can just have a blank canvas and go for it. And the Shotgun 650 is an awesome platform to build on. It's quite an easy bike to customize. It was just so fun. You know, it kind of brings you back to your childhood of building scale models or something like that, where, you know, we get to play with a 1-to-1 scale model to our design, and then it rides. You know, how cool is that? I think we're definitely nervous about showing it to the world because, yeah, this isn't what we normally do, and you know, I've seen so many builds that are so much better than ours, and just to add our one into the ether, I think is cool, but also nerve-wracking as well.